Hi, everyone. I want to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Vicky. Nice to meet you, and thank you for being here. A little bit about why I'm here, what I'm doing, and why I'm doing it, and why I jumped in the way I have is because I wanted to share um, all these projects I have with me. I enjoy watching it from other people, so I thought I would be part of the community when it comes to DIY projects, anything around the house, little side hustling, and all that fun stuff. So, reason I'm here, I live in the Metro Atlanta area. I'm from North Georgia originally. Actually, I'm a Navy brat. I'm from all over the place, but we landed in Georgia many, many, many years ago. And I moved to Atlanta in '07. Met my husband that year, and we got married in 2013. We purchased this house about 5 years ago. Um, to move my father-in-law from St. Louis in with us. He's in his 80s, and if you have somebody that's elderly that lives with you, bless your heart, because it is a challenge if you're not used to it. We're dealing with some memory slippage and some independence issues and things like that. But it's a learning curve, and it's rewarding in some ways and challenging in others. My mother-in-law passed away about 6 years ago, and he was by himself, and it wasn't a good situation for him, as you know, the memory and taking medication, things like that. So that drove us to this house. So about a little over a year ago, we had a water line that backed up into our house, caused damage on the main level and in our basement and garage, and it was a lot of work and a lot of trouble at the time. It was a pain, and if you've ever been through a situation like that, you totally get it. It's no walk in the park when it comes to a lot of things. So what we did is that the night that the water came into the house, we called out a crew. They came out and documented the damage, did moisture tests, all this stuff. So it was a big mess. We had a plumber out that night. The poor guy that was they were both here really late. The plumbers are here until like 1 o'clock in the morning. The guy from the it's like Serve Pro that came out. It's not that company, but it's similar to that. He came out. He was here until 3 in the morning, documenting everything and just going through the entire house, taping things off. It was crazy. It was more than I ever expected. You think just a little bit of damage, but it actually is much worse than you ever expect. So they were really great. Came out here and did all the work. The next day or two, we had another crew from the same company come out, and they completely emptied out my entire basement. Now, when we moved my father-in-law and we merged two households. Granted, majority of the stuff is mine because I'm a project maker, crafter. Um, Anything that I think I can make or do myself, I will. So a little ADHD when it comes to my projects and what I've done. So you're going to see a lot of that throughout this series of things that I do. So that happened, and then the next crew came out and they did all the removal work, and that's drywall and flooring. It was awful. We had subflooring for 4 months, and living on subflooring sucks. um, Losing a bathroom on our main level sucks. Like it's a first world problem. It's not like we didn't have bathrooms upstairs, but it was just if you're in the basement, you got to go up 2 flights of stairs to go to use the restroom. It was just like, oh, this is awful. So you take those things for granted when you're not there anymore. But the damage was in our dining room, bathroom, hallway, kitchen, and there was some damage in the garage as well. And then there is actually 5 rooms in the basement that were affected. So it was a lot. And so, anyways, the guys came in and they completely boxed everything up in the basement. I would say 85% of everything that was in the basement, and put it in a container that was in our side driveway for a good 4 or 5 months before it made it back into the house. So during that time, the next crew came in and they were starting to giving us quotes on the rebuild process. Now, the company that originally came out and tried us out, they had the sister company that would do the rebuild, and it was super easy. They were on top of it, out, had every answered every question, concern, things like that. Very patient with us as well. I have to give them a lot of credit, and they worked with the insurance company directly. So, in back of my mind, I come from a household that we didn't have a lot of money, growing up, and if the toilet broke, we fixed it because you couldn't afford a $500 bill for somebody to come fix the toilet. So we learned how to do these things through as I was growing up, watching and learning. And my father was a welder, and very talented person who can almost build anything. And I learned from him from a lot of things and had a lot of questions for him as well through this process. And a lot of it, honestly, I've learned from you guys on YouTube. So kudos to all of you, and thank you for being out there and having the information, because I tell you what, it made a lot of research a lot easier in some ways, and learning how to do certain things. So if you have a question or you're looking for something, go to YouTube. So somebody's out there has mentioned it. So it's kind of cool when, these days and age, it used to be you had to have a book, and anyways, squirrel. So as we're getting the quotes in from the rebuild, I was looking at the pricing and I couldn't justify it. Now, not saying it's not worth it. There are a lot of very talented contractors out there, and people that do work, and they're worth every penny, I'm sure, because it takes the pressure off yourself, and it's just nice coming home and something's done. You didn't have to do it. But in my heart, I couldn't stomach it, because the pricing just seemed so off. Like they were going to charge us $400 to disconnect our dishwasher to move it out of the way to lay the new flooring down. That just, I can't justify that. So there's a lot of little things like that that added up. I was just like, I can't justify that. Um, so, for example, like just the paint, we were quoted to almost $7,000 for painting. That was our dining room, a bathroom, a hallway, two rooms in our basement, and a landing in our stairs going down to the basement. I I couldn't stomach that, because granted, it was for the paint, it was for the labor, it was for all the materials, it was for the priming, it was taping, it was everything. And I do have a friend that's in the industry, and I asked him, and he was like, well, that's about right for where we're located. In which it may be, but I can't justify that, especially when I already had the paint, because I was going to paint the rooms a different color anyways before all this happened. I was like, no, we're going to take the painting out. So we took that out of the quote, and it helped a little bit. Then we were going to change the flooring in the bathroom from the laminate flooring that came with the house to a tile, because if we ever did have a flood again, we don't want it to soak it. We were thinking tile would be a little bit more resilient to something like that. That just jumped the bill right up. So I was like, okay, it's understandable. So we were like taking this away to add this, and it just, and they were very patient with us, and we were able to still do everything within the budget that, the insurance covered, or the quote the insurance covered. So we were still able to do that, but I uh, just still couldn't get over it. So I started in the basement, the first room, the pantry in the basement. You saw that in the first two videos, and I was like, let me try my hand at drywall and see if I can, do these repairs myself. And this is still while we're waiting for the insurance to come through. And so I went ahead and started doing that. And I was like, it turned out great. I'm not a professional. There's a learning curve there for what I did. It looks fantastic. So talked my husband into it, and I was like, we were 24 hours away from signing the contract to have the work done, and they would have had it all done in a week, and it would have been on with our life as normal. But I just couldn't do it. So I told my husband, we can do it, or I can do it, because my husband's not a handyman. He's not patient enough for this stuff. He's He's a bull in a china shop. He'll break it before he makes it better. So I've been doing a lot of this, I would say 99% of it myself. He has come in to help me do certain things, to hold something. But then I find I can do it myself and I don't even bother him. It'll just be done by the time he gets home. So that's where this is all kicked off at. I have a lot of projects to share with everybody. It is taking me some time to get it done because I do work full time. So I come in and do, an hour to 4 hours of work every night after work. So it definitely keeps you busy. There's always something to do. And I'm not 100% done. We're 90% there. There's some things I need to do, like touch up. And you're going to see that throughout this series. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you for joining me. And I hope you enjoy. Bye. So we're starting off the landing. You're going to see where the blue tape's at. That's where the moisture level went into the drywall. And they removed everything basically 2 feet from the floor. This is the room I call the bedroom, where they removed all of that drywall. And then on the back room that's dark right there, that's my craft room / office area. So all that was removed. Now that was actually paneling. So I don't know why they cut the paneling. It should just take it off the wall, but it's a lot easier. But here I'm getting into doing the drywall again and just elbows deep into it once again. And here's the edging. The edging is, there's an adhesive for that, but staples work just fine for me. I'm probably not doing it right, but it is what it is. And while I was doing all this and getting things ready around the house, I had no idea, but there's a little bit of shenanigans happening, and our supervisor is going to show up and make sure we're doing a good job. So I had to share the shenanigans. My supervisors aren't really good at their jobs, but I had no idea they were having a good old time when my back was turned. Yeah, I knew they were kind of playing around, but I had no idea the extent of it. But I just had to share because it's fantastic. Right here, I'm really having a hard time getting this jug open for the mud. I know there's a tool out there, but I had my hammer out, finally got it open, and was able to continue my work there. So where the new drywall was put in, that's where the moisture was detected up to about 2 feet. So I went ahead and got the new panels in, and now I'm just getting the mud on the walls. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this, but definitely was able to get it done. A lot of extra sanding because, like I'm not the best at it. So, sanding is like the key when it comes to it all. Just make sure you have a really good, smooth transition. If you're having to do something like this, definitely get yourself a little chair like this. This is our car detailing. We usually it's in the garage. My husband uses it when he does his car, but I went ahead and grabbed it. It made things so much easier from bending over up and down. It would have made it much more of a nightmare. But either way, we're going to get this done and hopefully get on to the next room here very shortly.
I see the way you look at me, the cherry on top of your broken dreams. I didn't ask you for anything, but you're acting like I did. I can feel it when you walk around. You see a light, try to put it out. Do I remind you that you never found exactly what you need? Cycles repeating. You'll get mad, I get sad, and then you'll leave, and I'm grieving. What I wish we had, what I really need. I know deep down you're good. You just so misunderstood. It's deceiving. Round and around we go. Cycles repeat. Now I loved you through all of it. The good, the bad, the thick and thin. Always gave you the benefit, but it's getting hard to ignore. If I could, I would take all your pain. I know it's been getting in your way. If you let me in, you could see, I would say it to your face. Cycles repeating. You get mad, I get sad, and then you leave, and I'm grieving. What I wish we had, what I really need. I know deep down you're good. You're just so misunderstood. It's deceiving. Round and around we go. Cycles repeating. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that things didn't go as planned. What you wanted. Why do I feel like your world is in my hands? Cycles repeating. You get mad, I get sad, and then you leave, and I'm grieving. What I wish we had, what I really need. I know deep down you're good. You're just so misunderstood. It's deceiving. Round and around we go. Cycles repeating. Oh, cycles repeating. Cycles repeating.
So I've just been working on taking the paneling off here. I don't know why. It didn't make much sense to me when they were removing the damaged materials. Why'd they cut the paneling? It could have all just come off in one large piece. Would have saved a lot of effort there, but it's okay. Now I'm just making sure all the nails are in the walls and just kind of clean up my area. Moving on to adding more drywall. This is like my office area, craft room space. It's a pretty large room. It's about an 18 by 15 room. That door frame was not even attached. That's how it was when we got here. But I saved these pieces of paneling because I have to cut the drywall to go around all the ductwork. Um, about 2 years ago, I painted the ceilings in here black, which made this process a little bit easier, so I didn't have to do it again. It makes a huge difference. If you have a basement that has exposed beams, painting it black just makes the ceiling kind of disappear, and you don't feel like you're in a basement as much. Our walls are only about 8 feet tall down here, so adding a ceiling would make it seem a little bit shorter. It would be nice, yeah. I mean, but it is quite a lot of work. So when using a template, doing like this, I had to reverse everything. Had to keep in my mind that, had to make sure this is opposite basically, because when you flip it around, you got to get it back in that space. So that was a little tricky at first thinking it through, but I was able to get everything cut out, and it actually worked pretty well. However, I did get my length of the board off a little bit, so I had to go back and fix a little bit of that. But in the long run, I'm very proud of myself for figuring this out without having to do a whole lot of math, because I will have an opportunity to do that later. But yeah, here we are.
I'm holding on to something better than anything I
So here we are. I'm just doing a few more touch-ups. Supervisors are coming in, making sure that we've done a good job. Um, Let me know if you have any tips or tricks to make this process a little bit easier. I did get two coats of paint on the walls. Um, and kind of let me know if you're interested in any of the products I've used or if you have any questions on anything I've done. I'm happy to share. But they did empty our bin. Here it is, and it's all its glory and all of my stuff. So a lot of stuff were already in containers, but you see there's so much that was brought back in. This isn't the only space. There's two other rooms that have stuff in it. So this is the next process, and we're moving on to the next. But I want to thank you again for spending time with me. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I do hope to see you at the next video. Bye.